Do you feel like you have to sell your soul to succeed in sales? If you want to make sales but don't want to feel dirty doing it, today I'm going to share with you 5 tips you can use to make more sales without feeling salesy. And this video will help you enjoy sales by learning to serve, not sell. And one of the number one things our clients tell us is that they love our process because they're able to make a lot more sales and feel totally authentic doing it. And that's why we call it the authentic enrollment sales process. Now, don't forget to subscribe so we show up on the little notification bell, like this video if it's helpful, or if you want to see more like it. And of course, leave a comment down below with any questions that come up. Okay, so the 5 steps are, step number 1, assess your beliefs. I cannot stress enough how important your belief is. When you're talking to a prospect and you want them to buy from you, you've got to have the belief and conviction that gets them over the line, especially if you've got a high ticket price point. Even though everything might seem great all the way up to the end of the call, if they don't believe it, fear's going to come up for them. And when that fear comes up, they're going to need your belief and your conviction to borrow from. If you don't have that belief, then they're not going to be able to borrow it. So assess your beliefs. And one of the best ways for you to do this is to really stop and think about, especially if you're in the client space, if you're an expert who provides consulting or coaching services, you want to really think about, do I get my client results? What kind of results have I gotten them? What are some of the success stories that I've gotten my clients? I suggest taking some time, sitting with a piece of paper and a pen, and really writing out some of the success stories for the clients that you've worked with. Now, if you're newer in business and maybe you haven't had a lot of clients, that's okay. You still need to stop and figure out what your beliefs are. And maybe you need to keep your price point a little lower while you're starting out until you build belief. Now, if you've got a rock solid belief and you absolutely know that you can get clients results, then really you actually can charge almost anything you want as long as what you're charging is worth the outcome that they're getting. So make sure that you take some time to really assess your beliefs. If you're struggling on your sales calls, you will find that often it's because you have a lack of belief or a problem with conviction. And so when fear comes up for the prospect, as it often will when it comes time to make a buying decision, if you don't have the belief, neither will they. Okay. Step number 2, frame the call. And this is really important. You need to tell them what to expect. You need to set the expectations for the call. A great way to do this is to really just say, okay, so today what we're going to do on this call, I want to learn a little bit about where you're at right now, where you want to go, and what the gap is between here and there. And if that gap is something that I can help you bridge, then at the end of this call, I'm going to share with you exactly what that looks like to work with us. And of course, if I don't think it's something I can help you with, then I will refer you or point you in the right direction. But no matter what, you're going to get a little bit of clarity today, and we're going to have a lot of fun. How's that sound? Okay, great. And then you can dive into the call. You've set the expectations of how the call will go. You've set the expectation that at the end of the call, you may have an offer for them, but you've also set the expectation that you're only going to make that offer if you think it's going to be something you can absolutely help them with. So make sure that you frame the call right and you set the expectations properly. All right, step number 3, ask questions and use empathy. And I cannot stress this enough. So many people think that selling is speaking in a fancy manner about how great you or your product or your service are, and that just isn't true. Your job is to uncover whatever is the reason why they're on the call with you in the first place. They are there speaking to you because they're interested in your service. This is assuming you've got some sort of inbound leads like most of our clients who have applied to speak with you. With the clients we work with, they've watched a free training, right? So they've clicked an ad, they've then gone to a free training, they've watched the entire training, they've then clicked another link to go to an application and book a call, they've then filled out that entire application, they've then shown up for the call on time, and now they're speaking to a stranger for sometimes an hour. So if somebody's going through all of those hoops, then they absolutely want to get an outcome. You need to understand why they did all of that. And it isn't just that they're thinking about making a purchase. It isn't just that they want to lose weight. It isn't just that they want to increase their lead flow or get more business. It isn't because they want to find the love of their life. Whatever coaching or consulting or service you're selling, what they really are buying is their way out of something, right? Their way out of their fear that if they don't get their health under control and lose weight, that they're not going to be there for their daughter's wedding because they're going to pass away of a heart attack. They're there because they want to find that love of their life because they're sick of going it alone, and they feel like in some ways their life is meaningless because they really want to have children, and they feel like they're getting too old that if they don't find somebody soon, they're going to miss their chance to have children. If it's a business offer and you're going to help them get more leads or increase their revenue, it's not that they want to make more money, it's what that money can do for them. It's the house that they want to buy their partner or build for their partner. It's the ability to move back home closer to their parents, or to be able to move their parents closer to them. It's so many other things. And your job is to ask questions and uncover what their motivation truly is. Because if you have a program or a process or an expertise to help them get the result they want, and you've got it at a higher price point, a high ticket price, that's a good thing, okay? And the reason that's a good thing is because when somebody makes a bigger investment, they're much more likely to take action and get the result. So it's great that you've got that higher price point, but that means fear is going to come up for them. And so they need to believe that you care about them, that you understand what they want and what they need. You need to genuinely care about them and understand what they want and they need, because when you do, then they see you as a partner in trying to help them get the outcome that they want. So it's very important that you can put yourself in their shoes. And to do that, you need to ask them lots of questions and you need to have empathy. Okay, tip number 4 is don't read a script and don't pitch. I can't stress this enough. Again, as I said in step number 3, questions are really important. It's really imperative that you understand the person. If all you do is get on the phone and ask the 4 rote questions that you've got on your script and then read for 30 minutes all the ways that you're going to help that person, which are fairly generic, it's just not going to work. You want this to be a natural conversation. You want to think of this like you're having a conversation with a friend and they're saying, hey, this is where I am, I'm stuck, and I want to get unstuck. And you want to ask questions. You want to seek to understand, then to be understood. Okay? And so you don't want to just read a script. You want to have the script as a guide for you. Okay? We have a framework that we teach our clients that shows them how to have a natural conversation. And yes, that framework does help them know where they're at in the process, but it isn't a matter of just reading. Okay, and then the final piece of that, not reading a script, is also just not pitching. So many people are like, oh, I gotta write the perfect pitch. I'm gonna get this great copywriter and they're gonna write exactly how I'm gonna say what it is that I do. They don't care what you do. What they care about is how it's going to solve their specific problem. So when you are talking about your offer, when you are talking about the results that you can help them get and how you're going to get them, you need to attach each component of what you do and how you do it to why it's important for them and why it's going to solve their problem, where other services or providers who offer a similar service, where they're not going to get them the result that you can get them, because your process gets them the specific results and outcomes that they want. So don't read a script and don't pitch. And this goes along, tip number 5 goes right along with don't read a script and don't pitch. Don't use some 1980s objection handling script. You want to ask questions in objections. So many people think if I just have the perfect one-liner to say when an objection comes up at the end of the call, then they're just going to all of a sudden be wooed and decide to buy. And that just isn't true. While there are lots of sales gurus out there that are teaching that, and you can sometimes browbeat people into buying, this only causes refunds, it only causes lack of referrals, and it causes complaints about your product or service. Objections need to be isolated. You need to determine what is actually going on. So you have to, again, ask questions. You have to have a conversation. You need to understand what the problem is. So first you want to isolate the objection by asking a question like, okay, so Other than the price, is there anything else that, would cause you to not want to make this investment today? Nope. Okay, that's it. So, and then you want to ask a couple of follow-up questions to that. Okay, great. So, just sort of isolate that objection and find out. Great. So if the price wasn't what it was, would there be any reason why you wouldn't want to work with us? Okay, great. Is it your goal to get the outcome that we discussed on this call today? If it is their goal and it is just the price, then you can talk about, okay, great. So is the outcome still important to you? Do you want to get it? Is it that you think that the price is too much? Is the price, just more than you can afford? Like, what's the actual objection? There's one thing to say, hey, I just don't have the money, but I think it's absolutely worth it and I'd like to go get the money. That's one thing. Another thing is, well, yeah, the price is just too high. I don't think it's worth that. That's a totally different thing. We need to dig into why. And really, if that's what's coming up at the end of the call, you've probably missed something much earlier on that would determine what their wants and needs and their motivations for buying really are. If you don't have that, well, you're already dead in the water. But if it's, hey, I get it, I love it, I want it, it's just more money than I have, then you can actually coach that person on how they might get that money. What are their options? One of the things I find people don't ask is, do they have credit? And is there a reason why they wouldn't use credit to make this purchase? Can they see how getting this outcome is going to make their life better or make them more money or whatever? So we don't want to be using some canned objection script. You want, just like the entire sales conversation, you want the objections piece to be a question. You want to really make sure that you ask the questions that help you understand exactly what it is that they want. If you found yourself hearing wild stories at the end of a sales call about why they can't buy, share those stories in the comments below. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to click the like button. If you know that this would be useful for somebody else, make sure to share it. And if you'd like to get more content like this, make sure to subscribe so that you get notified by the little notification bell in the corner. And of course, if you need more access to free training that will help you improve your sales calls, click the link in the description below this video and get access to our free sales training.